Hello, everyone. I'm Janice Coyle, founder of the New Earth Visioning Project. And our mission here is to promote people and ideas that help bring about what we call a new earth and a new us. We'll welcome Dr. Darren Starwynn, who will walk us through one of his many endeavors we thought you might want to know about right now and not wait till May. We'd like for you to know about this right now. So welcome, Darren. Thank you for coming.
Wow. That's such beautiful energy you're bringing through with your meditation and this whole group and the intention behind it. So I'm grateful that you invited me. Thank you, Janice.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Let me tell them a little bit about you. They only know your name now, some of them.
Okay.
Dr. Darren Starwynn has had a long career as an acupuncturist, medical device developer, writer, healer, and teacher, integrating therapeutic systems from around the world. He has written 4 groundbreaking books, led hundreds of workshops and seminars, and invented several vibrational healing devices used worldwide. He helped innovate advanced mind-body healing systems. He will be, as I've said before, he'll be joining us again in May and will be with us for the entire meeting to talk about his newest book, Awaken the Avatar Within. Charles and I are now reading this book. It's really incredible. It's had an amazing effect on us, and I'll let Charles mention what it has done for him a little later on here. But tonight we really wanted Dr. Darren to join us and to tell us about his Lightworker Ministry, which the more I look at it, the more it seems like it's almost specially designed for us here, this group right here. So welcome. And what is the Lightworker Ministry?
Yeah, well, it's an actual registered church that's online that was founded about a year and a half ago. And that's an interesting thing for me to be leading a church because I've never been interested in organized religion my whole life. I was bar mitzvahed when I was 13 years old. And basically since then, I've been always described myself as spiritual, but not religious. But the Lightworker Ministry serves a beautiful purpose. And I can truly say it was divinely inspired, as is a lot of things that I've been doing in recent years. None of them were things that I would have thought of I would be doing. And I'll tell you, there's a very specific purpose for the Lightworker Ministry. First of all, I want to say what I consider the word Lightworker to mean. And like I say in my book, some people hear the word Lightworker and it sounds like some kind of phrase like, like hippie or flower child or something, which is just kind of a diffuse kind of new agey term, but it's anything but that. I think it's closer to when we talk about like the military special forces that are the most like elite trained, highly disciplined, and the most capable ones that are paratrooped into the most dangerous places to get missions done that nobody else can do. That's what I think a light worker is. Not that I want to put a fear around it, but we're specialists and each of us light workers has superpowers that are just as real as Batman or Green Lantern or anything like that, because those are comic strips and this is real life that we are living. And so the purpose of Lightworker Ministry is to actually empower light workers and help light workers to awaken to who they really are and what their superpowers are and what their mission is, and to unburden all the tremendous burdens that so many of us carry. And I'll talk about that in a moment, why we have those, so that we can be free to do our purpose. And that's a giant blessing. I know for a lot of my life, I was like the poster child for unfulfilled potential. Back in grade school, literally almost every year, my teachers would write my report card, he has tremendous potential he's not living up to. So that started back then, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And as I got older, I've always sensed that I had abilities or connections far beyond what my mind could understand. So anyway, just to make this briefer, the Lightworker Ministry specifically is for people that sense that they have, greater abilities or a purpose or mission to contribute to the healing of our planet, and other individuals, of course, and want support in developing those abilities and getting the training and the ability to in doing that. And just as importantly, to bring light workers together, because that's what I love about what Janice is doing and what many groups like this are doing, is that there's totally strength in numbers. And one thing I do know about light workers is we tend to all be people that like to do our own thing. In other words, I think most light workers, have their own little healing practice or their own little school or their own this or that, and keep a low profile in public. And I've noticed that a lot of people that I've trained or work with, they have tremendous fear about being seen publicly in a bigger way than they already are. And they've often, it's something they have to overcome. And again, there's reasons for that. There's reasons for all these things. But yet, and the people who are doing the most damage on our planet are very good at cooperating with each other and coming together and doing organized things in order to build, that influence. So I feel like it's vital that light workers come together at least that much or more to build this field, this quantum field, which could be called heaven on earth, or it can be called by a lot of names, but something, Janice, you talked about the new earth, and I feel like the new earth is already here. We have to raise our frequency to be able to perceive it. And that involves a change in your physical body, not just your mind and your spirit, but your physical body can go through a remodeling, basically, an upgrade. In fact, in this book, Awakening the Avatar Within, that Janice talked about, the subtitle says, a roadmap to uncover your superpowers, upgrade your body, and uplift humanity. So again, that's another purpose for Lightworker Ministry, is to provide those kind of tools for people.
I understand that any of us can join.
Yes.
And should I put up the website?
Lightworkerministry.com would be good.
Right. Okay. I got that one. Okay.
And one of the things that, again, one of the reasons Janice and I connected is that we were in a unified group that met a couple of Wednesdays ago. And I mentioned that one of the things we were dedicated to is planetary healing. Mm-hmm. And this is something that was downloaded to me, a while back, that this is something I could actually participate in. And so what I mean by planetary healing is, I'm sure it's something everybody here talks about in this group. We're all holographically connected with each other. And this has been proven through quantum physics and through many different forms of inquiry, that there's really nothing separate anywhere. Like our minds perceive separation. So therefore, if you do a healing session for some one other person, it's not only limited to that person. That person has all these connections that these other people are receiving the benefits from it as well. And so basically, all of us are already interconnected much more than we are. And that's what the new earth is. It's a place where we recognize that total interconnection that we have. And so planetary healing is where you just extend your love to the earth and to all life on earth. And it's just being open to the fact that there's also thousands to millions of other people doing it at any moment on earth, sending love and blessings to the earth. And that this has a way more powerful effect than we possibly can understand. Like, it's not just a nice thing to do to raise your spirits, or it's actually has a definite effect. And in my book, I talk about several times that I've experienced where groups of people meditated together and visualized together, and major physical changes happened. And one of the most famous ones, just when your group was formed and when the COVID epidemic started, the worst drought in the history of Australia had been happening for a long, long time. They're in the middle of their fire season, and like the worst fires in their history were just blazing all over New South Wales and all these areas in Eastern Australia. And it was wiping out so much, destroying so much. And because it was the middle of the summer where it normally never rains, there was not much hope that anything could be done about it. So I got an email saying, we're calling people all over the world at a certain specific time, which was 11 a.m. Pacific time, where I was, to join together and visualize rain pouring all over Australia. And then the next day, we're going to do it at the same time the next day, and just figure out your own time zone, so that you can make sure you're on the same chronological time that everyone else is. So I joined that and visualized rain pouring on Australia and people celebrating and thanking. And then what happened is, I think 3 or 4 days later, rain fell and it put out a fair amount of fire, but it wasn't enough. And then about a week later, which is February, I think it was February 4th or 5th, year 2000, the biggest rain in 30 years poured all over that area and put out all the fires. And that's in a time where it normally never rains there. And what's interesting is I've talked to quite a few people from Australia who said now they have problems with flooding in that area. So I guess the lightworkers forgot to turn the switch off or something like that. Wait a minute, you can't just pray for rain and then just not, say, okay, no, just leave it there. So, but anyway, I believe that's just one of many, many examples of how when we put our consciousness together in this, in this quantum field, truly, anything can happen. And so I feel like, that's one of the most important things that I'm dedicated to supporting. And that's how I connected with your group, is because of having that kind of shared purpose.
Okay, I have the website up.
Just in case anyone can't read it, maybe you should put it in the chat or something. It's just like it would be spelled, lightworkerministry.com. And so there's a lot of resources on that website and a lot of ways to connect with other light workers. There's many different levels of training, ranging from free to whole year-long programs that certify you as a quantum healer. And right now we're in the middle of a 14-week master course that I run periodically, where there's people from all over the world, and we meet together on Zoom twice a week. And the whole thing is to awaken your miracle healing abilities and to do deep healing on yourself and awaken your higher sense perception. And so many people in the group, it's only been going 7 weeks, are having those kind of experiences in many, many different ways. So if you're interested, if you just, let me know, you'll get on my list, you'd know about those kind of things when they come up. And a new thing, what we're doing with Lightworker Ministry is called the Lightworker Leadership Training. And that's something that's much more informal. It's not like a fixed course. And it's just basically creating a forum so we get to meet each other, and people that want to do shared projects of any kind can meet each other and then get help in basically finding their leadership style, which can be, of course, very different for different people. And I help each person who wants it with maybe setting up a group in their area or doing outreach of different kinds. And we have that at just a membership of like just $20 a month. You get all those kind of benefits. So it's meant to be very, very accessible. And so I thank you for introducing it.
Yes, and you mentioned that you have a feature there where we can meditate at the same time. We join that, meditate at the same time everybody else in the world is.
Yes.
Something.
Right now we're doing that every Friday for 15 minutes at 12 noon Pacific time.
Okay.
And so we're doing that every Friday. And up till now, it hasn't been a Zoom. It's just been suggesting that at that time, just like we did with the Australia thing, you just stop what you're doing, maybe put it on a reminder on your calendar and visualize this beautiful image of the earth. Maybe next time when I come back, I'll bring it. But it's a gorgeous art image. It's out of my book that shows the earth with a Merkaba of light around it and a huge column of light going through it. And I love that image. It just feels like that's what I encourage people to see, some variation of that when we're meditating together. Now, starting on next week, those Friday at 12 noon Pacific time will actually be live stream. So it won't just be you could actually go onto Facebook or Instagram and just see me and my partner leading it live, if and have more comments. So that's a new thing we're adding on.
At 12 noon Pacific on Fridays?
Every Friday, yep.
Yeah, okay.
And so, and one thing we do is if you want to be getting reminders of that, because it's easy to forget that, if you go to a different website, which is global, that's global, .lightworkerministry.com. Okay, so I put that in the chat. If you go there, you can list your name and your email, and if you wish, your cell phone number. It'll not be used for any purpose except you'll get once a week an email reminding you we're about to go do the global meditation. And if you put your cell phone number in, I have a thing set up that'll send you an automatic text message about a half hour before that. Again, just to remind you, hey, we're about to go do this. So that's just free service that we have to put those reminders out.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I think you're going to have a chat group somewhere where we could connect with each other. Is there something like that you are doing?
Well, there actually is one of these very rare events, a live retreat. I lead retreats periodically.
Okay.
And during the whole COVID time, our retreats were always on Zoom. I used to lead lots of retreats at retreat centers where light workers get together and we have miraculous experiences with each other, awakening, healing, learning healing methods and practicing with each other and going out hiking and other beautiful events. So this is going to be an actual live one. And if anyone's interested in that and you're anywhere near Northern California or willing to come here, it's actually going to happen in Bodega Bay, which is where Alfred Hitchcock filmed The Birds, by the way. And we have this gorgeous place. And there's room for maybe 2 more people. It's pretty full, but there's room for, I think, 2 more people if anyone really has that calling to be in that kind of environment. And if anyone did want to do it, we'd require you to do a little bit of studying so you'd catch up with some of the other people and learn some of the methods we're doing, but that would be it, that would be included. And so I just want to mention that's one of the few live events that we're actually planning right now that's in person for this quantum healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Ted, you have a question?
Yeah, is there a particular energy there in Bodega Bay for that being the location? Is there some significance to that?
Well, not necessarily the city itself, but that whole Northern California coast is really a gorgeous place and as a beautiful energy. So no, not just Bodega Bay happened to have the kind of rental I was looking for is why I chose it. But I know whenever I've been up in that area, I've just loved hiking there and loved the energy, myself being there.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good, the bay and the water and stuff. I saw the movie The Birds too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. There's a lot of beautiful birds in Bodega Bay too that don't attack you, so that's good to know.
There you go. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Wonderful. I'm so happy you're doing this. It's been, I think it's one of those things that's needed. Because I thought, all of us, those of us who are getting together, we really think the light workers should get together, get to know each other, know where we are, do projects together, just be in communion. It's really great to be with people that are like-minded and really like-minded. And it's
truly.
You don't walk around our neighborhood. I don't know there are very many that really on that kind of a thing. Not that they're not good people, but they're just not always on exactly this kind of a mission. They have their mission, but thank you so much. Now, are you finished with that? If you are, can go on to your book.
I want to say one more thing, just experiential before I do it, is that in the beginning of the book, there's this section about foundational practices, and I wanted to share these with you. It only takes like a couple of minutes.
Sure.
And this is what I found is a very simple, quick way to attune yourself to your avatar self in less than a minute. Pretty cool, huh? And so I'll just lead you through it. Anybody who wants to participate, you're welcome to do so. I start by putting my hand like this and saying, I now command a purity blast. And then just imagine a huge whirlpool of divine light sweeping through your body and your field and just clearing your room or wherever you are to make it completely safe and cleansed. And basically just because you're an avatar, whether you know it or not, you have the power to do that. Just to simply command heaven to come and clear your space. If you like the word suggest rather than command, that's fine. And so it happens instantaneously. So just say, I now command a purity blast.
Purity blast.
Yeah. And if you're sensitive to energy, I know I feel something. I just feel like a little rush of energy, and then I just feel lighter after it. And then the next step is to put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, slightly behind your 2 front upper teeth. That's a point I call the master hookup. And that's, I used to be an acupuncturist. And so this connects the meridians on the front and back of your body, the positive and negative male, female energies, and it puts you into a state of inner equipoise or balance. And then you breathe fully, and then basically realizing that we tend to put our energy out of ourselves a lot. You'd say, I now ask all of my energy to come back into my body. Anything that I've projected outward onto people, places, things, medias, fears, doubts, I just call all that back into my own body now. And again, take a moment to feel it coming back in, not just see it as an abstraction. It's very tangible stuff. Like after doing that, I just feel much more vibrational than I did a moment ago. And then you could take one more breath in and then breathe some of that beautiful energy down into the earth. And there's a chakra that's 2 feet under the surface of the earth, wherever you happen to be. That's called your Earth Star. And you can imagine that as like a disc of light 2 feet under the earth. And that's part of you, actually. So you just connect that. And when you're connected with your Earth Star, you're basically unfreakable. People or situations can't push you or knock you off and get you upset, because you're grounded. And then the final thing is loving presence, just from this place of embodiment, choosing to be one with love. It's like tuning your receiver to that frequency. And that's it. It took me a minute or two to explain it, but once you internalize that, you can do all those steps in just a few seconds. So I just wanted to offer that to this as part of this.
Darren, we'll be back on May the 23rd to talk about this incredible book that Charles and I are reading. I think I'm about 2/3 through it. I've been reading slowly. I'm a fast reader, but there's some books that just touch me that I read very slowly. I'm doing some of the exercises in it, and there's been a remarkable effect. It might have even been a miracle recently regarding my eyes. A previous doctor was sure that I had glaucoma, and even brought in another specialist to help test me. I went yesterday, that was several weeks ago. I went yesterday finally to a specialist, really high specialist of eyes. And he looked at me, put me through many tests just yesterday, came back and said, "You don't have glaucoma. Nothing's wrong with your eyes." That was just, and this last couple of weeks, I've literally been preparing to go blind. I'm not preparing, not envisioning it, but preparing for what may be, whatever would have happened yesterday, right? With the idea of both imagining a miracle and also going through acceptance type of thing. So it could have been a miracle. Either that doctor or the 2 other doctors were grossly, didn't see what they were seeing, or there was a miracle. So just in the point of concurrence, I was also reading your book. Right. So
that's wonderful that happened.
Yes, it is. And Charles, are you ready to say what to maybe make a few comments about your reading of his book?
Yes, thank you. Darren, I've been very impressed with your book, and I'm continually reading it, which is sort of something for me because I'm a very slow reader. But found reading first thing in the morning when I go to bed is very helpful. But last week I had a fabulous experience. I typically in the early mornings, just before I wake up, have dreams of projects I'm working on with others that have all sorts of problems. And most of the time when I finally wake up, I realize that they were totally imaginary. But last week I woke up, but shortly before I woke up, I had this dream of myself being in a room, sitting down, and behind me was just sort of a plain wall, but with a sort of rose color. And the feeling that was going through me was so warm and blessed and without any fear or anything like that. It was very exceptional for me. And I was just so grateful. And, when I woke up, it continued. And I attribute it to reading your book because I don't remember having that before. But I do remember having these more early morning dreams of being in projects that have all sorts of problems, and I'm involved in it, and other people. And, it really doesn't help my sleep. And then it takes a while in the morning to realize that they were all false anyway. But this feeling that I had just before awakening and then on awakening, this beautiful peace, I just attribute it to reading your book and staying with it and reading it. And this, all since then, I've found myself having great success on tasks and projects that sometimes make me think that they're very difficult and how am I going to do it? But I keep seeing myself going back to my avatar presence, if you will, and being attuned to transmission. So thank you.
Wow. So thank you for sharing that. That's always so great to hear.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch because that morning he had such a beatific smile on his face. Something had happened. And I don't think that's ever happened to him before in this light he saw. And it's so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, to say we recommend this book is an understatement, kind of a real understatement. So it's really been a blessing to us. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Charles, you used the word transmission, and that's a very significant word to me. And there's two chapters in the book about your transmission. And the way I use that word in this context is that if you think of it like this, there's a symphony the human race is a symphony orchestra, and all the players have their own specific part to play. And if each player plays their part well, there's this amazing, music that's generated. So each of you have a certain note of the cosmic symphony that you do better than anyone else in the universe. That's your note. And that when you get in, because of all the, the brainwashing we go through, we're often seduced or tricked or scared into doing something other than playing that note that we're brilliant at, and doing things that we think we should do or make money or whatever it is. But when you get free of a lot of that programming that I call residue, then basically you can just open your body up so that you're working more with your note of the symphony, which is your transmission. And that's when your superpowers start awakening. And Charles, that's what's happening with you. You have these superpowers that are because of you're just getting in touch with your transmission and releasing some things you don't need. They're awakening. So congratulations. That's great.
Well, it's really interesting because back when I was in first grade, we took, I guess, an aptitude test of some sort, and my mother was told that I just didn't have any hope, basically, and that's been something I've carried with me, and yet I've been extremely successful in my life. But this is helping me on that.
Way cool.
Real cool. So we're going to get the honor and privilege and grace of having you back, and we don't have to wait till May because of the schedule.
Okay.
Promised other people come on certain dates, but we're gonna see you in May 23rd, and hopefully everybody will have read your book, and we'll have a lot of questions. I know I have a whole lot of questions, but I'll hold them. And
as a slow reader, I'm grateful it's May 23rd.
Yeah, that's good. Gives you plenty of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Darren.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Darren, for joining us today. It's going to be such a fun and privileged thing to see you in May. I really wanted you all to meet Darren, and I wanted him to introduce this new Lightworker thing. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Love you. Bye-bye.